Howdy, I am Karen Butler-Purry, Associate Provost and Dean of the Graduate and Professional School. On behalf of our staff and the entire university community, welcome to the Texas A&M 2020-2021 Three Minute Thesis Finals Competition. We're proud to partner with the University Writing Center and the Center for Teaching Excellence English Language Proficiency Program to bring you this evening for the 8th consecutive year. The 3 Minute Thesis Competition supports Texas A&M's ambitious campaign to elevate graduate and professional education and position itself in a new class of global leaders. This event represents a transformational learning experience for both our student participants and our community. By tackling the challenge of presenting complex research to people outside their disciplines in just 3 minutes and using just one slide, students must sharpen their focus on the true significance of their work while developing their presentation skills. At the same time, members of our community are treated to an educational showcase of the work of some of the most promising graduate student scholars. This year, the 3 Minute Thesis Competition occurred mostly within the confines of digital space. COVID-19 policies prevented us from physically bringing together students, faculty, staff, and our broader community for a graduate student-focused, campus-wide event, as we traditionally have done and wish we could have done this year. Nonetheless, we are happy to present the event virtually. Because of changes in the competition this year, our 3 Minute Thesis finalists are even more deserving of our admiration and appreciation. Each overcame additional technological challenges and obstacles to make it to the finals. Their presence here tonight is well earned. Events like tonight's competition hold great value from both the university and student perspective. Texas A&M graduates will enter a continually evolving and increasingly competitive job market. To distinguish themselves as they compete for employment and/or other post-graduation opportunities, today's graduates need more than just teachable so-called hard skills. Hard skills are discipline-specific skills, such as mathematics, computer programming, or modern languages. One study found that 75% of long-term job success depends on people skills, while only 25% depends on discipline-based knowledge. Another study indicated that hard skills contribute to only 15% of one's success, whereas 85% of success is due to soft skills, such as critical thinking, communication, collaboration, self-management, ethics, leadership, and resilient mindset. As employers are progressively looking for mature and socially well-adjusted employees, students must obtain proficiency in the more difficult-to-measure soft skills. Therefore, Texas A&M focuses its professional development programs on skills beyond those learned in the discipline, employing a carefully designed course of action to prepare our students for success as they pursue roles in leadership, responsibility, and service to society. The Graduate and Professional School works in collaboration with other non-academic offices on campus to deliver coordinated professional development programs. We provide students with creative, engaging, and meaningful learning experiences, such as the 3 Minute Thesis Competition you are witnessing tonight, as well as workshops, seminars, training activities, online resources, and more. 3 Minute Thesis is a research communication competition developed by the University of Queensland in 2008. Graduate students have 3 minutes to present a compelling oration on their research project and its significance to a general audience. 3 Minute Thesis is not an exercise in dumbing down research. Instead, it challenges students to consolidate their ideas and research discoveries so they can be presented clearly and concisely. The exercise develops academic, presentation, and research communication skills. To be successful, students must employ soft skills to express the results of their application of skills acquired in their various academic disciplines. The first 3 Minute Thesis competition at the University of Queensland in 2008 featured 160 students. Within 2 years, the concept was adopted by other Australian and New Zealand universities. From there, enthusiasm for the program exploded, and the concept spread worldwide. 3-minute thesis competitions now occur all over the globe at more than 600 universities and institutions across 65 countries. 2021 marks the 8th year that Texas A&M has participated in the 3-minute thesis competition. This year, we hosted 25 students in our preliminary competition and advanced 9 students to the finals. Our finalists today represent 4 different colleges and 2 interdisciplinary degree programs. The Graduate and Professional School, the Center for Teaching Excellence English Language Proficiency Program, and the University Writing Center worked together to host several working sessions before both the preliminary and final competitions. These sessions help students enhance their communication and presentation skills. In addition, the CTE English Language Proficiency Program conducted a session on English pronunciation tips. Winners tonight will include first, second, and third prizes, as well as a People's Choice Award. The first place winner will move on to a regional competition hosted by the Conference of Southern Graduate Schools. We look forward to seeing how our winner will measure up against competitors from our fellow SEC schools and other institutions throughout the Southern region. Furthermore, the Council of Graduate Schools conducts a 3-minute thesis People's Choice competition and roundtable discussion at their annual meeting. CGS is the only national organization in the U.S. dedicated solely to advancing graduate education and research. They invite 3-minute thesis winners from the 4 regional affiliates to compete. This is a tremendous opportunity for students to gain national exposure and to network with graduate students and faculty from other universities. I think you will be impressed by our presenters tonight. Their research represents a small sample of the important research graduate students are conducting on our campus. Thank you for your support and enjoy the show. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Adam Sipe, Assistant Provost for the Graduate and Professional School and Professor of History. Dr. Sipe will serve as tonight's MC. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody out there in Zoom land. My name is Adam Sipe. I am an assistant provost in the Graduate and Professional School here at Texas A&M, a brand new school about which we'll talk a little bit more later, and I am so pleased to welcome you to the finals of the 2020-2021 3-minute thesis competition here at Texas A&M University. We're coming to you live from the Texas A&M Hotel and Conference Center, right in the heart of our campus here in College Station, Texas, just a few yards away from Kyle Field, and we are thrilled as a school, as a community, to bring you this evening where we get to hear from some of the brightest and most exciting members of our graduate school community. This is going to be a great night. This competition, the 3-minute thesis competition, as Dr. Butler-Purry just told you, is an extraordinary opportunity, a chance to bridge the gap between high-level university research and the broader public, and a chance for you to hear about some of the exciting, world-changing research that's happening here at Texas A&M University. The research that you're going to hear about tonight is research that has the possibility to someday make this world a better place. And that, also makes it a real honor to be here tonight and to be a part of this. We sure wish that we could be in an auditorium tonight, sharing these presentations with a live audience and getting the benefit of the feedback of having people sitting and watching and thinking about the events that are taking place on stage, the presentations that are taking place on stage. But it's 2020, 2021, and that's not going to happen. So because of that, we're here with you on Zoom, and we are so thankful that you have decided to take your evening and be a part of this. So, a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. You guys have joined us here tonight virtually. We would like you, if you're able, to turn on the camera that you're using to access Zoom so that we can see your faces, so that we can get a little bit of that sensibility, that joy of having a live audience even in this profoundly strange time. And instead of using your voices to show your support, your encouragement, your appreciation of the work that's being done in the chat or by using the reaction buttons that are available to you through Zoom. So can I get a quick thumbs up from our audience? Anybody? Somebody? Oh, I'm watching. Oh, I'm seeing some thumbs. All right. We are understanding each other. That is fantastic. So tonight we are going to hear from 9 of the finest, most ambitious graduate students that we have here at Texas A&M University, and we are also going to hear from you. That's right. You didn't just come here to watch. There's going to be some elements here where we want you as our audience to participate, to help us build this community. We're going to have some polls. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to find out who you are, why you're here, what brought you to this event tonight. We're going to play a little bit of trivia here and there. We're going to find out what you know. We're going to provide some promotional content for some of the other institutions here on this campus. You can learn a little bit about some of the things that we are going to be are doing here at Texas A&M. And there's going to be an opportunity for you, the audience, to cast your votes for a highly coveted People's Choice Award. One of our contestants tonight is going to win an award that comes not from our expert panel of judges, who I'll introduce in a few minutes, but from you. So you're going to need to use your Zoom polls feature to submit your votes. I promise you it's really easy. Those of you who aren't living on Zoom like so many of us are, and our staff here tonight will make that possible. But just to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're going to have a little practice session here. We're going to those of you who maybe aren't so sure of yourselves, maybe we can help you figure it out. So we are going to have a practice Zoom question that you're going to help us answer, and it's also going to tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe what brings you here. So our question for you tonight is this: where are you right now? Where are you watching our competition? Where are you? And that's going to tell us maybe what time of night it is for you, because I suspect for some of you it's pretty late at night. So let's see. Oh, we're getting a lot of responses in. All right. Watching the needle move. Oh, okay. Oh, boy. All right. Oh, getting closer. 80% of you have voted. Keep them coming. Crawling through. Let's get it up above 90, and then we'll call it scientific. There's a lot of scientists in this room. I'm not one. Oh, come on. Almost there. Up! There we are. All right. Let's close it out. All right. So what do we got? We are about 65% of us are right here in Bryan College Station, Texas. 12% more in Texas. We've got a lot of people around the United States. And then we've got some, okay, so who's coming from farthest away? We've got people from Australia. We've got people from the Middle East and Asia. Anybody who's someplace really interesting. I don't know, maybe you're on the International Space Station or you're an offshore oil platform or something. Tell us about it in the chat. We'd love to hear about it. We want to know who's here with us? Who decided to share part of their night, part of their evening? Indiana, all right. Part of their night, part of their evening with all of us. All right. So we have seen, all right. We've got people from India, from Germany. Excellent. All right. We have, all right, good. Someone's in an igloo. That's outstanding. I'm glad I'm glad the Wi-Fi is working in your igloo. It can be hard to get reliable service sometimes. That's great. All right. Fantastic. Iran, Clearwater, Florida, Ohio, more from Iran. All right. I think what we can safely say tonight is that we have an audience from all over the world, and I think that tells you something, not just about who you are, but about who our contestants are, and frankly, about the global nature of this scientific inquiry that we do here at Texas A&M. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I think we all understand Zoom. I think we all understand each other. And I think we're ready to keep moving. So let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen tonight. As Dr. Butler-Purry mentioned a few minutes ago, this is a competition that's been through a couple of rounds already. These are seasoned competitors. And tonight they are presenting for the chance to win some prizes. So let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to give 4 awards tonight. Our winner is going to take home $1,000, and our winner will get to go on to the Conference of Southern Graduate Schools regional competition and the national finals at the Council of Graduate Schools annual conference. We'll also have a second-place winner who will win $500, a third-place winner who will win $250, and a People's Choice Award. Remember, we've got that at the end, who will take home $500. And guess what? just to sweeten the pot a little bit, the audience can win prizes too. It's going to be complicated, it's going to be weird, but it's 2020, 2021, and we're into complicated and weird these days, so we'll make it work, I promise you. So, before I do that, I want to take this opportunity to introduce and to thank our judges tonight, members of our community here in Bryan College Station who have given their time, who've given their evening, who've given their passion for education to share with us tonight in this spirit of competition. So, with that, I want to give a brief biography of our judges. Our first is Stacy Colvin, who is a member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2000, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Economics. She is currently the operations manager for KBTX Channel 3 and CW8 Aggieland, and has been with KBTX for 6 years. She is the club manager for the St. Joseph's 4-H Club in Brazos County, the vice president of the Brazos County 4-H Adult Leaders Association, and a member of the Brazos Valley Food Bank Board. Next is John Cowan, a Fighting Texas Aggie class in 1994, graduating from Texas A&M with a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Economics. He is currently the president of the board of the Brazos Valley Food Bank. He is also the vice president for commercial lending at Citibank and has been with them since the fall of 2019. Brandy Enex is a member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class in 1993, graduating with a Bachelor of Business Administration in Marketing. She continued her education at Prairie View A&M University, where she received her Master of Business Administration. She began her career in higher education working at Blinn College, where she served as the Director of Recruitment. She then returned to Texas A&M in 2007 and has been working in the admissions department ever since. As of December 2019, she is the Director of Freshman Admissions at Texas A&M University. Dr. Brian Merrill is a dedicated educator with a career spanning 20 years. Dr. Merrill currently serves as the Executive Director of School Leadership in Bryan ISD, having previously served as the principal of Waller High School in Waller ISD for more than 9 years. Before his time at Waller High School, Merrill served as a principal at 2 middle schools in Waller ISD and assistant principal at Cypress Fairbanks ISD. His career in education started as a classroom teacher at Cypress Falls High School and Cypress Fairbanks ISD. He's earned his Doctor of Education degree in Education Administration, a Master of Arts and Bachelor of Arts degrees, and a bachelor's degree, all from Texas A&M University. Dr. Merrill is married to Krista Merrill, a school counselor at Johnson Elementary School in Bryan ISD, for over 20 years. They have 7 children, 4 adopted, 3 biological, as well as 2 grandchildren. And finally, Aduji Sala, who earned his Master of Arts in Performance Studies last year from Texas A&M and is currently pursuing a doctoral degree in the Department of English. Aduji won the 2019 3MT competition in both the Master's Division level and the overall competition for his presentation titled Toko Atiola, which discussed a pre-19th century indigenous African execution practice. Please join me in providing a warm Zoom welcome for our distinguished panel of judges. Welcome, and thank you very much for taking your time to participate in this event. So, let's talk about the competition for just a few minutes. The 3-minute thesis competition, the rules are astonishingly simple. Each competitor has 3 minutes to tell us about their research in as approachable a set of language as humanly possible, with the assistance of just one PowerPoint slide. Now, anybody who spent any time around university professors or around graduate students knows that a good way to lose half your evening is to say, "So what are you working on?" Well, that's not the skill we're valuing here. The 3-minute thesis competition asks our bright, ambitious graduate students to distill their research down to 3 crystal clear minutes in which, with very little visual assistance, they tell us what their research is, and perhaps more importantly, how it's going to change the world. So we have two categories of assessment, comprehension and content. Did the presentation clearly describe the impact and results of this research in language appropriate for a non-specialist audience? I cannot tell you, folks, how difficult this is for some scholars, bright, ambitious scholars who nonetheless have trouble distilling what they're doing down into something that people can grasp immediately. And our competitors do that, and they do it really well. And then engagement and communication. Did the presenter capture and maintain the audience's attention, convey enthusiasm for the research, and leave the audience wanting to know more? And they have only 3 minutes to do it. So can they present a compelling oration on their research and its significance using only one slide and drawing from every bit of their public presentation skills? We're going to find out. Folks, the competition may be virtual, but the fun is real. It's time for the 3-minute thesis finals. Our first competitor tonight is Amin Davoudi from the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Culture in the Program of Curriculum and Instruction. His advisor is Dr. Cheryl J. Craig. Amin Davoudi's presentation for us tonight is called Promoting Educational Equity and Access for Homebound Students Using Robot-Assisted Learning. Best of luck, Amin. The floor is yours.
Nearly 15,000 American students are diagnosed with cancer every year. So even before the COVID-19 pandemic, many homebound students, those who cannot go to school in person, would have to join their classes virtually using video conferencing tools, like the ones that we are all using now for our online classes and meetings during this pandemic. But they have a big problem: lack of sense of presence. In psychology, sense of presence is defined as a feeling as if we were present and had an effect at a place other than our true location. Lack of sense of presence can make online classes really boring because unlike our real-life face-to-face interactions, we have to look straight at the screen all the time. There's only one angle, and everyone is in front of us rather than around us, so we don't really feel present. That's where my research on telepresence technology comes in. A telepresence robot is a remote control device with wheels and a camera, so the remote user would connect to the robot using an app, and then they would be able to communicate with others in video. But more importantly, they have full control of what they wish to see, as they can explore the environment by controlling the robot remotely. So my research focused on two questions. First, how can telepresence technology improve distance education? And second, how does robot-assisted learning affect the motivation of students with serious illnesses to continue their education? I used different cases in my study, and I'm going to talk about a third grader and a senior college student today who were diagnosed with cancer. In both cases, a telepresence robot was placed into their classroom for 1 semester for the college student and 1 academic year for the third grader. So while they were recovering from chemotherapy from the comfort of their homes, they would connect to the robot to virtually participate in their class discussions, which also enabled them to explore the classroom and to have an eye contact with whoever they wanted by walking the robot remotely. So they really felt present in their classes. Even the third grader would walk the robot into the lunchroom to enjoy a virtual lunch with some friends. Both of them graduated successfully and defeated cancer. Through multiple rounds of interviews with the teachers and the students, classroom observations, and analyzing their academic progress, achievement, and motivation, I found 2 interesting results. First, telepresence technology improved the experiences of distant learners by making virtual classes very similar to face-to-face ones. And second, robot-assisted learning significantly improved the motivation of homebound students to continue their education while they were fighting with cancer. So my research proved that by using state-of-the-art technologies like telepresence robots, we can provide high-quality distance education, promote educational equity and access for homebound students, and more importantly, to move towards a more inclusive education for all. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Amin. It was great hearing that presentation, and you get a sense now of what the rest of our evening is going to look and sound like. So, in between our presentations tonight, while our judges are tabulating their scores, we've got some plans to keep you guys entertained, to keep you engaged, and to keep you a part of our evening. So I promised before that first presentation that I'd talk a little bit later about how the audience can get involved, and perhaps most important, how the audience can win some pretty cool prizes. So that's what I'm going to talk about here in the next few minutes, because after our last presenter, and while the final scores are being tallied, we're going to have a scavenger hunt. A Zoom scavenger hunt, something that many of you may never have tried. I certainly haven't tried it, and we are going to see how it goes, but we have got some plans for you. But first, we need some volunteers. 6 lucky volunteers. One of our staff members just posted in the chat a link to a from. And anyone who wants to fill it out is welcome to do so. It will come back to us, and we will randomly choose 6 from everyone who volunteers, 6 lucky volunteers who will get to participate in our virtual scavenger hunt. And we will notify our 6 contestants during our intermission. So basically, our Zoom scavenger hunt is going to consist of 5 rounds, where we're going to post an item, and our 6 competitors are going to have 20 seconds to come back with that item, which they can show us on the screen and declare that they found it. Now, we're going to keep time, and we're going to keep tabs on who comes back first. And if you come back first, you're going to win the round. But there's also points for finishing second and third, and I can explain that a little bit more when we get closer. There may be times when the contestant who brings back an item that we've requested may have to show or explain what they've brought back to the rest of us. So make sure you're ready to be on camera, and make sure you're ready to explain to us what you've done. And in exchange, we promised you some pretty cool prizes, and I think we can deliver. So first place is going to win a JBL Flip 4 waterproof portable Bluetooth speaker, and our second and third place competitors will win an Amazon Echo Show. Now, if you've had a chance to look at the Google form, you'll see that there's a little bit more explanation of the rules, and we'll go over them again when we get ready to start the game. If you're interested in participating, go as soon as possible to the Google form and in the chat, and go ahead and fill it out so we can start selecting our competitors. Anybody out there, anybody who's watching, can enter for a chance to play. However, if you are at Texas A&M University, you are going to need to provide us with your university ID number and your Texas A&M email address for accounting purposes. So hopefully that's clear to everybody. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Certainly our staff has done a great deal to get ourselves ready for it. I think it's going to be great, and we're looking forward to playing and seeing how our audience does with this. So let me take this opportunity and check real quick and see if we're ready to go. I'm getting the high sign from our producer, so I think we are ready to go. So our second competitor tonight is Amir Esmalian from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, the program in Civil Engineering. His advisor is Dr. Ali Mostafali, and his project that he's going to be talking about tonight is Societal Impacts of Infrastructure Service Disruptions. So, take it away, Amir.
Have you ever experienced a power outage? Normally, these events would last for a couple of hours, and they're very disturbing. So we try to find another place to have access to power, or we just cope with them. And playing around with the burning candle could be fun too. But this is not the case during disasters. Hurricanes, flooding, wildfires. They cause significant damages to our infrastructures, like power networks or transportation systems, that may last for weeks or even months. And it's pretty difficult to find a safe place during a disaster. So we engineers have been trying to build stronger infrastructures to avoid such disruptions. But experience has shown us that even if we make our infrastructures stronger, there will be an event that would eventually cause significant damages to our infrastructures. And on top of that, if we just focus on improving the physical condition of infrastructures, we are kind of assuming that everyone in the community experienced the disruptions equally. But are they? That is the question that I'm trying to answer with my research. So I use empirical data together with the statistical analysis to answer this question. I collected household survey data in the aftermath of 3 major hurricane events, Hurricane Harvey, Florence, and Michael. And I asked people about their experiences with the service outages. The results were interesting. I noticed that socially vulnerable groups like lower-income households or racially minority groups, they experience a greater amount of hardship from the disruptions. And this greater amount of hardship was not because they were living in areas with longer duration of disruptions. Actually, their lower tolerance was the main factor for this greater amount of hardship. So I identified the factors that would influence your tolerance for the service outages, your socio-demographic characteristics, your perceptions about the potential duration of disruptions, and of course, your protective actions all influence your tolerance for the service outages. So in my research, I used this information to develop tools and models that would account for the disproportionate impact of infrastructure service disruptions. And I hope that by using these tools and models, we could come up with equitable ways of designing and planning infrastructures that would eventually enhance the well-being of communities facing natural hazards. Thank you.
Well done. All right. So, 2 competitors through. I promised you Zoom polls, and we have Zoom polls. So, having found out where you are, we want to find out a little bit more about you. So, we want to ask you a few questions to get a sense of who you are and a little bit more about what might bring you here tonight. So, with that said, let's have our first question. All right. So, who's here? Are you an A&M faculty member, an A&M staff member, A&M undergraduate, an A&M graduate student, K through 12, community member, or somebody else? Getting there, getting there. Seeing a lot of graduate and professional students on that screen. Some faculty, good. Good, excellent. Some people from outside. All right. Where is all this going to end up? We got a I got 1 K through 12 student. Good for you. Hopefully you're done with your homework. Good, all right. Fantastic. So, 43%. 43% of you are A&M graduate or professional students. That's fantastic. You're out here to support your fellow students. That is really, really great. We've got some A&M faculty. I see some people I know on the screen, some staff members, a couple of undergraduates, and then some folks, 22% coming from outside of Texas A&M. That's pretty awesome, too. We've established that we've got a global community here tonight, and now we know a little bit more about you. So, our next question, following on from that, why are you here? What brings you here tonight? What made you decide to spend part of your evening with us? So, question number 2. All right. Do you want to learn more about Texas A&M research? Wow, all right, strong start for them. Support a family member who's competing. Support a friend who's competing. Or your boss or professor kind of forced you without forcing you. All right, somebody's bold. We got 1 already on the strongly encourage. Oh, all right. Apparently there's more of that than we were expecting. All right, so how we doing? We're almost there. Okay. And as we suspected, we've got a lot of graduate and professional students out there here to support their friends and colleagues. So that is really fantastic. And in addition to the great research we're hearing tonight, it's great to hear that these graduate students come from a supportive community of people who want to hear about them and all the cool stuff that they're doing and the way that they're presenting it. So our judges are ready for our next competitor. Our next presentation tonight is going to come from Ali Folsick from the Department of Food Science and Technology in the Interdisciplinary Program in Toxicology. Her advisor is Dr. Suresh Pillai, and her presentation tonight is called Keeping Cyanotoxins Out of Your Tap. Take it away, Ali.
Water scarcity is an increasing concern around the globe. In fact, by 2025, it's estimated that over half of the world's population will be living in a water-stressed area. In order to meet our increasing water needs, we must be able to clean our polluted water. A class of water pollutants that are becoming increasingly problematic are something called cyanotoxins. Cyanotoxins are these dangerous chemicals that are produced by harmful algal blooms. But although we call them algal blooms, they're more often caused by a similar looking organism known as cyanobacteria, which is why we call the toxins cyanotoxins. In particular, I study one of the most common cyanotoxins known as microcystins. Microcystin is a potent liver toxin responsible for a variety of livestock and pet poisonings, as well as human illnesses every year. Short-term exposure to microcystins can result in things like rashes, nausea, and vomiting, but long-term exposure can result in liver failure and may even cause cancer. This becomes really problematic when source waters containing a bloom are taken into drinking water treatment plants. In this case, both the cyanobacteria and cyanotoxins are taken into the plant, and if not treated effectively, may end up in tap water making people sick. Unfortunately, our current treatment strategies aren't always sufficient to stop this from happening. But this is where my research comes in. I'm investigating the use of a technology known as electron beam irradiation technology, or e-beam for short. But don't let this irradiation term scare you. The way that this technology works is essentially by taking electrons from electricity and speeding them up almost to the speed of light. This laser-like beam of electrons is then able to interact with the chemical bonds on pollutants to break them apart, as well as to damage the DNA of harmful bacteria and viruses. My research questions whether we can use this technology to both break down microcystins in drinking water, but also to kill the cyanobacteria responsible for producing them. So far, my research has shown that after irradiation, microcystin is broken down into non-toxic products. Normally, microcystins interact with enzymes in your liver cells, known as phosphatases. But after irradiation, we see that the part of the molecule responsible for this binding is no longer present. This suggests that we've gotten rid of the toxicity of microcystin. But why do we care if the cyanobacteria are still there producing more microcystin and putting it into our water supply? Well, I also see that after irradiation, cyanobacteria cells lyse, or are essentially killed through the rupturing of the cell. This means that they're not able to produce more microcystin. So overall, e-beam could be a valuable tool implemented into the water treatment process to stop pollutants like microcystins from reaching your tap.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Allie. All right, so we are 3 competitors in, and we've got some more questions for you. So continuing on our theme. All right, so be honest. Can't check on this, but we want you to be honest. Who's wearing pajamas right now? Well, goal in life. Oh, well, geez, pajamas are not doing well in early voting. I'm surprised. Wow, all right. This is a pretty robust showing for no. I'm actually kind of disappointed, folks. I mean, honestly, you're at home. I'm here. I'm in a suit. If I wasn't, I'd definitely be in pajamas. All right, pretty strong anti-pajama sentiment. Like I said, I would have lost money if I'd bet on this. Yeah, all right, good. I feel like, maybe I didn't know the audience nearly as well as I had hoped. All right, so maybe I will be a little more correct this time. So our next question for you guys, and this one I think is going to elicit a little bit of controversy. If you could eliminate one food so that no one would ever eat it again, what would it be? Onions, chocolate. Anyone who says chocolate does not deserve, it needs to be kicked out of the Zoom. Hawaiian pizza, mushrooms, no votes for green veggie mayonnaise, type of seafood, that I will not tolerate. Other. Oh, if you're putting in other, you got to put something in the chat. Come on, give me something interesting. Other. What do we mean by other? Well, let's see. All right, Hawaiian pizza. Hawaiian pizza, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting this level of harsh anti-Hawaiian pizza reaction. That's doesn't really elicit this kind of passion that I would have thought. And olives, okay. Mango, beef. Oof, that's a tough stance in Texas. Beets, all right, I'll agree with that. Carrots, all right. I'm seeing some people from the graduate and professional. Strawberries. Who hates strawberries? Honestly, strawberries. All right, fair enough. Well, to each their own, I suppose. All right. Well, I guess we know a little bit about the audience, and frankly, some of it I find a little scary. But that's all right. That's the nature of our little democratic experiment that we're having here at the 3-Minute Thesis Finals, which brings us actually to our next finalist. I'm very pleased to introduce our fourth competitor, Manoush Sadeji, from the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, program in Industrial Engineering, advised by Dr. Farzan Sasangahar. And Manoush's presentation tonight is called Developing a Smart PTSD Monitoring System. So, Manoush, take it away.
Have you ever experienced a traumatic event in your life, such as losing loved ones, or serving in a war, or sexual abuse? It is very common to show stress reactions to these terrifying events even weeks after they happen. But what if the symptoms get worse and worse? What if they never go away? This is not normal stress anymore. This is called post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Some of the symptoms of PTSD are depression, high anxiety, flashbacks, and intrusive thoughts. If you have these symptoms, you are one of the 24 million people in the United States who are suffering from PTSD. The sad part is that most people don't even reach out for help because of the limited resources or the social stigma around mental health disorders. Here is where my research comes into play. The goal of my research is to develop a system that is accessible to everyone, and it can continuously monitor PTSD stress triggers and provide treatments. To do so, I looked into heart rate of hundreds of people who have PTSD. I chose heart rate because your heart rate is the main physiological indicator of stress in your body. I found out that heart rate shows very specific patterns when it comes to stress. Normally, when you are not stressed out, your heart rate goes up and down with a uniform pattern. However, when you are stressed out, your heart rate increases to a point where you perceive stress. It stays high for a few seconds or a few minutes because of stress. And then when you calm down, it recovers and goes back to normal again. I use these patterns to build a system that can detect PTSD stress triggers in real time. This system works based on advanced machine learning algorithms and physiological data, your heart rate. When it detects a stress event, it first lets you know what symptoms you are dealing with, and then it provides some coping skills for you, such as breathing exercises, or in worst cases, it connects you to a therapist. This system is integrated in an application that can be easily installed on smartphones and smartwatches. And currently, it's being tested by 15 people who have PTSD. Now, take a deep breath and keep in mind, the next time that you are stressed out, there is an app that you can use to detect your stress events in real time and help you immediately recover from them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Manoush. Before we proceed, thought I'd take a minute or two just to thank our competitors tonight. This has been an extraordinary and unusual year. Not a year I think many of us would be keen to repeat. And it just speaks to the passion and dedication of our finalists this year that they're here at all. It has been a tough year for everything, including the 3MT competition. COVID necessitated radical changes in preliminaries and preparation. And I got to tell you, I've been a judge in the 3-minute thesis competitions before. I've seen how it looks in kind of normal times, and it's looked nothing like that this year. So all credit to our presenters. There have been virtual virtual development workshops instead of face-to-face. There have been very few opportunities to kind of prep in front of a live audience. Students had to videotape their initial submissions. Spots in the final are hard-earned this year, and we've just got to applaud the resilience and the flexibility of all of our finalists, of everybody who competed this year, and particularly of our finalists for really sticking with it. So I'd ask you again just to give them a virtual round of applause. So thanks very much to everybody, our finalists, and then all the people who competed in our earlier rounds. So thanks a lot. Thanks for showing that recognition. So when we talk about with students and sometimes even with colleagues about how to take your complex research and compress it down into a format that people can readily understand, even outside of your discipline, one of the terms that we use, we call it an elevator pitch. And in many ways, the 3-minute thesis is a sort of long version of an elevator pitch. And I want to talk to you for a few minutes about, particularly for those of you who are out there who are themselves Texas A&M graduate students or graduate students someplace else, about ways that you can hone your elevator pitch so that you can do this kind of communication more effectively. Summarizing the importance of your research in simple to understand language is a key skill. And for students who are not participating in 3MT this year, the Graduate and Professional Schools Professional Development Team has got programming that can help you practice and develop the skill. There's an event coming up this Friday. Grad Aggies, or Graduate Resources and Development for Aggies, is going to host an elevator pitch seminar on Friday at noon for any graduate student interested in learning more about crafting an elevator pitch, particularly one for your research. Grad Aggies is a joint effort between several campus offices to offer development opportunities for graduate and professional students, including workshops, seminars, training events, online resources, and more. Graduate students who participate in these efforts can earn credit toward a Grad Aggies Professional Development Certificate. And there's a full calendar of training upcoming to develop skills in academic communication, personal well-being, teaching and assessment, and career exploration. If you're interested, have a look at the Grad Aggies calendar and website for more information on professional development and Grad Aggies more generally. That brings us to our fifth competitor, Sridevi Arun Kumar, from the Department of Biomedical Engineering, advisor Dr. Akhilesh Gaharwar. Sridevi's presentation for us tonight is called Sunscreen for Vaccines. Take it away, Sridevi.
We now have 2 vaccines against COVID-19. That means we can all get vaccinated and put this pandemic behind us, right? Unfortunately, it's not so simple. Did you know that a child dies every 20 seconds of an infectious disease that is very similar to COVID-19 because they do not have access to vaccines? Vaccine transportation and timely vaccine delivery are 2 main challenges that contribute to this inaccessibility, especially in the context of the developing world. Let's first look at why transportation is an issue. Imagine going on a summer road trip where you would likely carry some ice packs with you to ensure that the drinks you're bringing along remain cold. Similarly, vaccines would also have to be maintained at constant cold temperatures to retain their functionality. Now, in a desert with no access to refrigerated trucks, vaccines are often put in ice boxes that are then mounted on top of a camel. As we can imagine, this is not the most efficient system, and any break in the constant cold chain supply could result in the vaccine being non-functional and billions of dollars to be wasted annually, an effect of which we are currently seeing even in a developed country like the US with respect to COVID-19 vaccine transportation. During my graduate studies, I am working on a technology that can protect the vaccine from its external environment. Now, how do I do this? I coded a model vaccine that's shown as a yellow circle in this image with a protective chemical bubble, enabling the vaccine to withstand high temperatures during transportation. Our preliminary studies show that we were able to successfully protect the vaccine from its external environment using our sunscreen coating without compromising its functionality. Now let's move on to the next challenge of timely vaccine delivery. Just like how you'd reapply sunscreen after a few hours, you'd also have to re-administer the vaccine after a couple of months to ensure full protection. Unfortunately, kids in the developing world do not make it back to the clinics on time to receive these booster shots. To overcome this challenge, I further engineered the sunscreen coating that we developed to enable staggered and timely release of multiple booster shots with just one injection. I accomplished this by sprinkling some gold particles onto the sunscreen coating because these particles respond to a special type of light that can pass through your skin. We injected the animal models with these gold-containing vaccine bubbles that were then successfully triggered to enable on-demand delivery of multiple booster shots by just shining the special light through their skin. Thus, our super sunscreen can protect the vaccine from its harsh environment while enabling the release of multiple booster shots, potentially saving millions of lives. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sridevi. And with that, with 5 competitors down, we are going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. So we'll see you in 5. All right, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great break. We've spent our break trying to think a little bit about our upcoming scavenger hunt, about which we're getting increasingly excited over here in the Hotel and Conference Center. But first, we've got a couple more presenters to go. So our next presenter from the Department of Chemistry is Nick Schuber, whose advisor is Dr. Simon North. And Nick's presentation tonight is called Shedding Light on Air Pollution. Take it away, Nick.
A siren blares. You look out the window to see a building on fire, smoke billowing high. Firefighters run in and immediately begin putting out fire to prevent the rising heat from making flames on upper floors worse. Some bravely rush in and find people crouched low to the ground to avoid breathing in smoke. The least of anyone's concerns is all of the smoke rising into the sky. You see, as a species, we produce a lot of smoke. In the United States, it's primarily through transportation, cars and airplanes. Fighting air pollution and fighting fire have a lot in common. You can't do either without understanding the mechanism of how to put them out. Those firefighters earlier couldn't do their job properly if they didn't know that heat rises and to aim at the base of a flame. I study pollutants that affect our everyday lives, molecules that we put into our atmosphere. Among them are the components of smog, nitrogen oxides, and ozone. My focus is on one of the ways that these molecules are removed from our atmosphere, one of the ways to put out a fire. You see, these molecules break down when exposed to certain components of sunlight. So, I shoot them with lasers that have been attuned to a specific color within sunlight, break them apart, and look at the fragments that they leave behind. I want to know how light breaks these pollutants and the fragments that they leave behind. These fragments are vibrating and spinning rapidly, and that changes on how the molecule broke and what color of light was used. This distribution of energy affects how these molecules interact with other gases in our atmosphere. They're vibrating and spinning at vastly different speeds, and a molecule that's vibrating will interact with the gases around it differently than one that is gently spinning. It's seeing this distribution of energy that gets kind of complicated. We need other lasers to probe the fragments, powerful vacuums to isolate them, high voltage plates in order to position them, and at the end of their flight path, a camera to take an image. The average images that we take often look like a simple ring, but armed with chemistry and physics, that ring can tell us how light broke that molecule. Understanding this can give us a better picture of how these pollutants interact with light and our atmosphere, their life cycle, and how we can combat them. It's not enough to understand that water can put out a fire. You have to understand the science behind it so that when a fire starts, you aim where it matters. So the next time that you're sitting in traffic or gathered around the campfire, do me a favor. Watch the smoke rise up and think, like I do, how do we fight that?
Thanks a lot, Nick. So now I want to take this opportunity to thank two of our other sponsors for the 3 Minute Thesis Competition, the Center for Teaching Excellence English Language Proficiency Program and the University Writing Center. The English Language Proficiency Program provides professional development to those who wish to improve their spoken English skills. Services include workshops, conversation partnerships, private consultations, and more. You can visit their website or email cte@tamu.edu for additional details about this outstanding and valuable resource. We'd also like to recognize our other sponsor, the University Writing Center, who supports writing and public speaking for graduate and undergraduate students across the university, providing the tools you need to become a better communicator. The Writing Center can assist graduate students through one-on-one appointments for help with presentations, seminar papers, theses, dissertations, and more. You can also submit papers online and receive tailored feedback from a trained consultant. They are currently offering all of their services online. One amazing program that they offer is the Dissertation Article and Thesis Assistance Program, or DATA. It is designed to support graduate students working on a thesis, dissertation, or article for publication. Undergraduates working on an undergraduate thesis are also welcome to apply. DATA participants are paired with the same consultant for up to 10 45-minute sessions. I would encourage you to visit their website for additional details on the wonderful assistance that they offer. So, with that, I'd like to bring out our next competitor. Now, our next competitor is Rachit Gupta from the Department of Chemical Engineering. His advisor is Dr. Pushkar Lele. And Rachit's presentation tonight is called Restoring Balance to Health the Bacterial Way. Take it away, Rachit.
Pimples, acne, food allergies, or indigestion. If you ever faced any of these problems, I'm sure you have been frustrated by the lack of an effective cure. So today in my talk, I will discuss how these seemingly unrelated problems are connected and how my research will help find answers to these problems. Before I get to my research, let's talk about the human bodies. Human bodies consist of trillions of bacteria. In fact, there are more bacterial cells inside you than there are human cells. The good news is that these bacteria live in peace and harmony. But scientists are now finding out that these bacteria can also be disrupted. And when that happens, it has negative consequence on our health. It's manifested in form of pimples, acne, indigestion, or food allergies. So how do we make sure that these bacteria live in peace and harmony? And that is where my research comes in. I look at the factors that help maintain a balance in the communities of these bacteria. In my PhD dissertation, I am focusing on a chemical called indole. Indole is a very important molecule for two reasons. Firstly, it's found inside our bodies. And secondly, it can affect the action of the bacteria. And in order to understand how these actions of bacteria are affected by indole, we built one of its kind microscopy system here at Texas A&M. And that microscopy system allows us to look at thousands of bacteria in real time under the influence of indole. After I carried out these studies, I found out that indole has a disorienting effect on bacteria. Now what that means, to understand that, let's imagine a car. A car can go in forward or reverse direction. And the combination of the two motions allow you to get out of your parking lot in the morning and reach to your destination. Similarly, bacteria use a combination of forward and backward motion to reach to its destination. And what I found out was that indole disrupts the gearbox or the machinery that allows the bacteria to take this decision. And when the bacteria cannot move properly, we do not really expect it to form good communities. So in a way, now we have a tool that can allow us to control what the bacteria are doing and how they're forming communities. And I also found out that changing the amounts of indole can have more adverse effect versus less adverse effect at lower amounts of indole. Now, with this kind of a tool, I believe we can now design therapies that will allow us to treat these problems of disbalance in bacterial communities inside our bodies. And with those kind of therapies, the possibilities are limitless. I imagine a person being able to eat his first bite of ice cream without having to worry about lactose intolerance. And what about you? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rachit. So now I want to talk about one of our other sponsors, an institution very close to my own heart, the Graduate and Professional School at Texas A&M University, which recently underwent a pretty dramatic change. Starting on January 1st, 2020, the Office of Graduate and Professional Studies became the Graduate and Professional School and moved from Jack K. Williams Administration Building to Nagel Hall, located on Academic Plaza in the very heart of our campus. And a little bit earlier, you heard from our new dean, Dr. Karen Butler-Purry. We are going to continue to provide the services to which the graduate and professional studies community has become accustomed, including professional development, academic and program support, funding, thesis and dissertation services, student success programming, and event coordination. As we look for more opportunities to increase funding resources, enhance the graduate student experience, strengthen interdisciplinary efforts across colleges, support retention and student success initiatives, and boost diversity efforts. We believe that becoming the Graduate and Professional School reflects the importance of graduate and professional education at Texas A&M. It raises our profile, which is an exciting development for the university and for all of you as graduate and professional students. We're excited for what this change signifies and for what the future holds for graduate and professional students and our entire graduate and professional community. So with that, I'm being told we are ready to go. I'm being told we're ready to go, which means that it is time to hand the floor over to Mickey Ray Parker from the Department of Ecology and Conservation Biology, where his advisor is Dr. Lee Fitzgerald. And Mickey Ray's talk today is called Improving Outcomes of Conservation Translocation for Habitat Specialist Species. Mickey Ray.
We are in the middle of the sixth major extinction event in our planet's history. As dire as this extinction crisis is, focusing solely on extinction only tells us part of the story. We're also losing populations of species at an alarming rate. Scientists have called this biological annihilation. One tool we can use to combat biological annihilation is translocation, which is just when humans move species from one area to another. Now, when this is part of a planned effort to conserve a species, say restoring a lost population, this is called a conservation translocation. My research focuses on improving outcomes of conservation translocations for species that specialize in particular habitats. Now, the species I study, the dune sagebrush lizard, it takes habitat specialization to the extreme. It only occurs in this narrow crescent-shaped arc of sand dunes that occurs from a few counties in southeastern New Mexico into West Texas. The lizard completes its entire life cycle in this dune system using bowl-shaped depressions of sand called blowouts. However, the lizard's entire range overlies the Permian Basin, the largest oil and gas producing region in the country. Activities from oil and gas extraction have fragmented the habitat and degraded the dunes, and some populations have gone extinct. So, from 2016 to 2019, we conducted the first ever conservation translocation for this species. We used a delayed release approach, which allowed lizards to acclimate in temporary enclosures before being released. We translocated animals in the breeding season to allow females to lay eggs at the site in the first year. And these females did nest successfully, and over the course of the study, we captured hatchlings that had reached adulthood. However, despite our initial successes, the population did not persist. But translocation success stories are rarely ever only one chapter long. We learned important lessons that are applicable to future translocation efforts for the species, from our monitoring methodologies to potential obstacles posed by land tenure situations. So, if we consider that translocation is just moving species from one area to another, we start to see the results of successful translocations all around us. European starlings in our yards, Mediterranean geckos hunting insects under our porch lights. These species are only in the US because of ill-advised or even accidental translocations. So the rest of my research borrows from it scientists who study how invasive species such as these are able to establish successfully. Invasion biologists often examine how factors such as interactions with other species or traits like lifespan or number of offspring produced can affect how successful a potential invader can be. But rather than using these methods to stop population establishment and prevent invasions, I'm using them in my research to help establish populations and fight biological annihilation to conserve our planet's biodiversity.
Our next competitor tonight is Marcus Orsabal from the Department of Veterinary Physiology and Pharmacology, where he is advised by Dr. Jayanth Ramadas. His presentation tonight is called E-Cig Vaping, Don't Hold Your Breath. Marcus?
Howdy. As many of you have heard, there's an e-cig vaping epidemic that's sweeping across our nation, with over 10 million e-cig users in the US alone. But what's even more shocking is that these relatively new devices have become increasingly popular among youth and young adults. And the novelty of vaping means that there's limited information on how these products affect human physiology and development. It's been known for years that exposure to tobacco products and nicotine during pregnancy can dramatically increase the risk of preterm birth, low birth weight, and sudden infant death syndrome. But no one really knows the health outcomes of pregnancies that have been exposed to e-cig vapors. My research is focused on how e-cig vaping during pregnancy affects the development and health of both the mother and the child. My initial studies have found that exposure to e-cig vapors during pregnancy can significantly inhibit fetal growth, leading to lower birth weights. Using advanced ultrasound techniques, I've also found that exposure to e-cig vapors can alter the blood flow in the mother and the fetus during pregnancy, which may reduce the delivery of oxygen and nutrients needed for proper development. Tobacco product exposure has also been shown to restrict the development of the fetal lung, which may be one of the main causes of infant respiratory distress syndrome. Now, I want all of you to take a deep breath with me. Breathe in and out. Every time we breathe, the tiny grape-like structures within our lungs are being filled with fresh air. These round, air-filled sacs are called alveoli, and they're the smallest functional unit of the lung. The size and shape of the alveoli maximize the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the blood. What we see in our preliminary data is that exposure to e-cig vapors during pregnancy may inhibit development of the lung, leading to larger than normal alveoli. But why is that important? Imagine the alveoli as an igloo with a single chimney and no door. Air is able to move into and out of the chimney to allow for ventilation. In a healthy lung, there are many small igloos, like a village. This increases surface area and allows for adequate ventilation of all igloos. In lungs that have been exposed to e-cig vapors, these igloos would appear to be much larger. This makes it harder for the same amount of fresh air to circulate within the igloo. In the same way, newborn lungs exposed to e-cig vapors during pregnancy may not be able to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide efficiently due to the abnormalities in the structure of their alveoli. By taking this exciting new data and combining it with previous tobacco-related research, I'm now trying to identify what physiological mechanisms are altered during lung development and how we might improve the health outcomes of those individuals who've been exposed to e-cig vapors during pregnancy. That way, we can all breathe a little easier. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Marcus. It wouldn't be 2020, 2021 if we hadn't just lost part of our competition thanks to an internet outage. So it wouldn't be 2020, 2021 if we weren't finding ways to be flexible about it. So we've talked to the judges and we've decided that the best thing for us to do is to give Mickey Ray Parker one additional opportunity to present so that he can be seen by you, the audience, and so that he can be eligible for the People's Choice Award. Remember, his presentation was seen by our live panel of judges, so he is a part of the judged competition, but we want you to have the opportunity to see him. So while we transition to his second attempt at this for you, let's play some trivia. This is a round of trivia that I'm particularly taken with that we're calling Potpourri. So, all right, question number one. It's already up there. What movie started the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Oh. All right, there's some passionate fans here, all right? All right? Things are kind of trending. Warmer, colder, up. Oh, let's go ahead and call it. You're getting wronger. All right. Oh, the correct answer, in fact, was Iron Man, which started out really strong. There were some people who really sort of went for it early, and then some confusion set in. All right. So question two. This is a very different sort of question. We don't call it potpourri for nothing. So where do we go? Question number two. Who founded Rome? Excellent. Romulus and Remus, Nero, Julius Caesar, or Bert and Ernie? As a historian, I'm watching you people. Let's see. Okay. Oh, come on. Well, all right. We're getting in the right direction. I'm seeing a lot of people who should have taken more classes in the history department. So let's go ahead and close this out. All right, so Romulus and Remus would be correct. Nero supposedly fiddled while Rome burned. Julius Caesar, well, was Julius Caesar, Ides of March, et cetera, et cetera. And Bert and Ernie are Sesame Street characters. So I'm assuming that 11% of you either need much more remedial history or are joking. So let's move on to question 3. All right. I am actually being told that Mickey Ray Parker is now ready to go. So with that in mind, let's send it back out to him so that the people can have a look. Mickey Ray.
We are in the middle of the 6th major extinction event in our planet's history. As dire as the extinction crisis is, focusing solely on extinction only tells us part of the story. We're also losing populations of species at an alarming rate. Scientists have called this biological annihilation. One tool we can use to combat biological annihilation is translocation, which is just when humans move a species from one area to another. When this is part of a planned effort to conserve a species, say restoring a lost population, this is called a conservation translocation. The goal of my research is to improve outcomes of conservation translocations for species that specialize in particular habitats. Now, the species that I study, the dune sagebrush lizard, it takes habitat specialization to the extreme. It only occurs in this narrow crescent-shaped arc of sand dunes that stretches from a few counties in southeastern New Mexico into West Texas. It spends its entire life cycle in this dune system using bowl-shaped depressions of sand called blowouts. However, the lizard's entire range overlies the Permian Basin, the largest oil and gas producing region in the country. Activities from oil and gas extraction have degraded the dunes and fragmented the habitat, causing some populations to go extinct. So from 2016 to 2019, we conducted the first ever conservation translocation for the species. We used a delayed release approach that allowed lizards to acclimate in temporary enclosures before being released. We translocated lizards during the breeding season so females could lay eggs during the first year at the site. And these females did nest successfully, and over the course of the study, we recaptured hatchlings that had reached adulthood. However, despite our initial success, the population did not persist. But translocation success stories are rarely ever only one chapter long. We learned lessons that are applicable to future translocation efforts for the species, from our monitoring methodology to potential obstacles caused by land ownership issues. So, if we consider that translocation is just us moving species from one area to another, we start to see the results of successful translocations all around us. European starlings in our yards, Mediterranean geckos hunting insects under our porch lights. These species are only in the US from ill-advised or even accidental translocations. So the rest of my research borrows from scientists who study how invasive species such as these are able to successfully establish. Invasion biologists often examine how factors such as interactions with other species or traits such as lifespan or number of offspring produced can affect how successful a potential invader can be. But rather than using these methods to stop population establishment and prevent invasions, I'm using them in my research to help establish populations and fight biological annihilation to conserve our planet's biodiversity.
All right, thank you very much, Mickey Ray. Round two. Thanks everybody for your patience as we work through some technical problems. Okay, it's time for us to move on to the next event. So while our judges are starting to tabulate their results, we're going to have a scavenger hunt. More specifically, our 6 competitors are going to have a scavenger hunt. So thank you very much to our competitors who've nominated themselves and who've been selected at random. You've already been contacted by our staff. Our 6 competitors, and so I'm going to read out your names. If you could at that point, first make sure your video is on. So we got to be able to see you for the rules of the scavenger hunt. This is running a tight ship here. We're going to need you, we'd prefer it if you would unmute yourself and say something. Just say hello to the group after I read your name. That way your image will pop up to the top of our Zoom pages. And just make sure that you are there and we can see you and we've got some camera eyes on you. So I'm going to read the names of our 6 competitors, then we're going to go back through the rules, and then we're going to have ourselves a Zoom scavenger hunt. So our competitors are Lee Fitzgerald. Please turn on your video and say something. Anything. Not all at once. All right, so let's go with Jayashri Arun Kumar. If you could make sure your camera's on, unmute yourself and say something. Okay, let's try Nicole Gunsel. Are you out there in Zoom land? Possibly. All right. Floris Droyce. Okay, excellent. D. Cooper. All right. And finally, Cameron Taylor. Okay, all right, I am seeing high signs all around, so I think we are in business to have ourselves an old-fashioned Zoom scavenger hunt, just like your grandparents had. All right, so let's go through the rules once again, just so we are all on the same page. So let's get a slide that's going to explain to everybody the rules. All right, goody. So we are going to play 5 rounds of Zoom scavenger hunt. After all 5 rounds, the scorekeeper is going to add up each player's points and tell us the winner. Player with the highest score wins. Pretty straightforward, no? All right, we're going to start with an object. It can be pretty simple object. It can be something, let's just say, a bit more esoteric. So we're going to enter it into the chat. We'll read it out loud. All of our players need to be, the rules say touching their computer, in the vicinity of their computer, no head starts. We need to be able to see you. We've got judges. They're very, very sharp-eyed. Our judges these are people who work in graduate education. We're used to details. All right, so we're watching you, but so be around your computer, no cheating. When the object that you're supposed to get appears, you've got 20 seconds to go find it. Rush, hurry off in the most dignified way possible, bring the item back to your screen, and crucially, type done in the chat. That's going to tell us that you're back and you've got something that you believe meets the criteria. Everyone's going to be asked to show what they brought, and maybe you tell us in the chat what you found. So the scorekeeper and the scorekeeper's judgments are final in this. There is no appeal. The scorekeeper will award 3 points to the first player to come back with the correct item, 2 points to the second player who types done, and 1 point to the third player. And everyone else, of course, receives 0 points because it is a cruel and brutal world. At the end of 5 rounds, we're going to do a practice round, just so everybody's okay with this. Then we're going to do 5 rounds. Our winner is going to walk away with, or walk away with, I don't even think, we can't even say walk away with anymore because we're all on multiple continents, is going to get a JBL Flip 4 waterproof portable Bluetooth speaker. And the second and third place contestants are going to win an Amazon Echo Show. All right, so we have our competitors. We have our team of eagle-eyed, rules-lawyering judges who brook no cheating and accept no appeal. I'm looking around at my judges. I'm seeing a lot of high signs. Okay, so we're going to start gentle. We're going to do a practice round. So our competitors, I'm looking. I'm sort of seeing some competitors, but I'm counting on the judges. This is a practice round. This doesn't count. So maybe again, think about what you want to do. So I have one of my fellow staff members is ready here. So everybody ready? All right. So, eyes on the screen. Ready? Oh, nope, it happened already. See, we all need practice. Something red, go! Oh, I see hurry. Oh, wow. All right. Oh, geez. Okay, wow. That was close. Oh my gosh, I am seeing, so I think I see Nicole Gunsel, who I believe is our first one in. Well done. I believe that is self-explanatory. That is a red pencil. Okay, fair enough. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to call that one the winner. I don't even think I need a judge's input for this. Okay, so time's up. So are we all good? I think we're good. I think we're making good progress. I think we are doing excellent work here. All right, so are we ready for our first timed scored round? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. A CD or DVD. Old people get a bit of a bonus here. Go, 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 go. Up. Oh, wow. I'm seeing a lot. Oh, it's type. Oh, geez. All right. So, what? All right, time's up. Geez. So I think Nicole Gunsel has perhaps been tipped off because she seems to be about 4 feet away from everything. So, all right, in a move that makes me question the integrity of this competition, I believe that Nicole has taken the 3 points. So who finished second? Is that Flores who finished second? Is that the official ruling? Yes, please do remember, you have to type done, otherwise we can't count it. I believe that someone may have cost themselves, I won't name the person to spare them humiliation, but I believe someone just cost themselves some points and possibly a Bluetooth speaker. So, just make sure you follow the rules. So you got to type done. All right, so we're all clear on that. We've gone through 2 rounds. All right, we're ready for round 3. Now, somebody keep a sharp eye on Nicole. I have some questions about this, but are we ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Something alive that's not you. Okay. Well, this is very quick. Oh, no. I think I see Demetria Cooper in. What is Demetria Cooper What is Dimitri? I'm missing. She's brought multiple people. Well, you don't get bonus points for that, but well done. Multiple live things all at once. Let's see. So she's claiming. Oh, yeah. Is that so? We get. Yep. I believe Demetria wins. I think Cameron Taylor. What's Cameron Taylor got? What do we got? That's possibly a philosophical problem more than anything else, but I think it counts. Yeah, that's good. And third place, I believe we have Floris again. So excellent. I think we've got a lot of flowers. That's good. That was very positive. Lots of like there. Well done, folks. I think we're getting faster, and we are only just a couple rounds away from being finished. All right. So round 3. Oh, there seems to be some concern. We may have to go back and look at the instant replay. We'll consult with the video replay booth. All right. So, are we ready for round 3? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Something squishy. Go, go, go! Squishy. The squishier, the better. Oh, Nicole looked confused. Is that? Who got in first? Oh, I think I see Cameron Taylor. I see Cameron. What did Cameron win with? Cameron won with what do we got? Oh, I'm seeing squishy toys. Okay, I'm seeing glasses, which with a flexible, okay, that might count as squishy in a kind of cosmic sense. So we have Cameron Taylor, Nicole Gunsel, and Jay Sriram Kumar, who seem to have pipped everyone. So, all right. So we have got 3 rounds down. We have 2 left to go. All right, so are we ready? All right, this one has become far more controversial in the past year than I would have expected it to ever be. So go! Toilet paper! Ha-ha! Yes, I'm seeing suggestions for VAR. I see there are some soccer/football players out there. I would have gone with VAR. Oh boy. Okay. Apparently, Nicole was frighteningly close to her stash of toilet paper. Flora's not far behind, but Nicole appears to have been, again, suspiciously close to a source of toilet paper. Alarmingly close, I should say. I need to talk to some of our judges. Okay, so we once again have Nicole winning, we have Floris in second, and we have Jayshri in third. So, my mistake. We have Cameron Taylor in third. Sorry, Jayshri, he just pipped you to this one. All right, good. So we have one more round, and I am not keeping score, but I'm assuming that our eagle-eyed judges are. We have one more round, but I suspect this will determine. I think there's still much to play for in this competition. Now, the 5th round, we have perhaps again something that might be a chance to think broadly about the meaning of words, to play with language, to be a bit postmodern, if I may. So, with that, we are ready. 1, 2, 3, go! Something that measures. Something that measures. Now, I'm really curious what people are going to come back. What? Okay. I'm not even sure what's happening at this point. This is all right. So I'm gonna have to interrogate this one a little bit. So Floris claims a win. Okay, Floris has a pretty clear. That's a tape measure. I'm solid with that. I'm hearing again some. So all right. So I got Floris. I've got Nicole, who's got again a tape measure. There seems to be some. All right, Cameron. What do you have? Cameron, where are you? Okay, you've got. Is that a water bottle? Okay, excellent. All right, so I think we have a Floris, Nicole, Cameron, kind of 1, 2, and 3. That seems like a pretty good indicator of where our competition has been, and that is our final round. So one of our sharp professional judges, please tell me as quickly as possible who our winner is and who our second and third place are. And then we can make some arrangements. We will contact you in the Zoom chat to make sure that we figure out a good way to get you your prizes. And I have to say, these are some pretty cool prizes for being, well positioned in your house. Since we know that you're not in your pajamas, perhaps you were wearing other similar comfortable garb that lets you move quickly throughout your house and obtain these items. That was really good work. All right. So, in third place, we have Floris. All right, yeah, excellent. All right, fantastic. So that's an Amazon Echo show for Flores. In second place, we have Cameron Taylor. Excellent, very well done. That is going to be an Amazon Echo show. And in first place, shocking no one but leading to deep suspicion on my part, Nicole Gunsel. So, Nicole, congratulations on your bizarrely straightforward win in this very, very cutthroat competition. Thank you very much. That was way more fun than it had any right to be. I certainly thoroughly enjoyed it, and we gave out some really neat prizes. All right, so our judges for the actual competition for the night are still tabulating away in the other room, but it is now time for us to do our People's Choice Award, which of course is where you use your Zoom polling for good rather than for selfish or esoteric scavenger hunt related reasons. So this is your opportunity to think about what you've seen and to think about what all the competitors brought to the table. And just a reminder of the judging criteria, which is the same judging criteria we want you to use that we wanted our judges in the other room to use. So, comprehension and content. Did the presentation clearly describe the impact and results of research in a language that was appropriate for a non-specialist audience? And engagement and communication. Did the presenter capture and maintain the audience's attention, convey enthusiasm for their research, and leave the audience wanting to know more? Now let's go back and just remind ourselves of who our presenters were. So we have here our 9 finalists. Remember, you're only going to be able to cast one vote in the Zoom poll. So you want to vote for the one student who you feel, under those 2 criteria that I just laid out, performed the best. And let me just remind you, we have Amin Davoudi, promoting educational equity and access for homebound students using robot-assisted learning. We have Amir Esmalayan, societal impacts of infrastructure service disruption. Ali Folsick, keeping cyanotoxins out of your tap. Manoush Sadeghi, developing a smart PTSD monitoring system. Sridevi Arun Kumar, sunscreen for vaccines. Nick Schuber, shedding light on air pollution. Rachit Gupta, restoring balance to health the bacterial way. Mickey Ray Parker's improving outcomes of conservation translocation for habitat specialist species. And Marcus Orsabel's e-cig vaping, don't hold your breath. Remember, these students have been through a couple of rounds of competition. We have seen them. They have presented. They've presented to friends. They've presented to family. They may have presented to you. They've presented to their advisors, who I don't think we've thanked tonight, but we certainly should. The academic mentors who helped them develop this research and helped them understand the research so well that that they could present it in this way. So we take this job very seriously. It's what we've come here for, and this is definitely an opportunity for us to really showcase, as I said at the beginning of this, the work that's been done here at Texas A&M University and the work that's still being done. This is an important moment, and it's an important moment for people who are really coming into their own as scholars, as scholar teachers, as researchers. This is a very proud moment, for our college, for our program. So we have a little bit of time left to vote, and I am waiting for the official word that our polling has closed. It has not yet, so we are still going to continue to wait for you. Thanks a lot for taking the time and really thinking about who you want to win. And I think, frankly, that having seen these competitors, sometimes, in my case, several times, I think this is a very, very hard choice, and I'm glad not to be in your seats or the seats of the judges, because this is the sort of situation where you can make a lot of right choices and no wrong choices. So thanks a lot to them, and to all of you, and to those of you who came out to support our student competitors today and everyone who mentored them. So thanks a lot for all of you. I'm waiting for our judges to close, and they have closed the voting. So I think we are now going to combine the voting of the People's Choice with the voting of the judges who've come here tonight to be with these students. Thanks to all of you for being with us. We are getting ever closer to the awards ceremony, which I know the students are looking forward to, and I know all of you who've come out to support those students and who've been there for those students sometimes over years. I know you're all looking forward to this as well, and I'm awaiting the official word to come from our various panels of judges and, of course, from you. We will soon be able to show you the awards ceremony where Dr. Karen Butler-Purry, Dean of the Graduate and Professional School at Texas A&M, will give the awards for the first, second, and third place, and then for the People's Choice. And so I am hearing that since we have a little bit more time, I think we're going to do another much less dramatic poll. So let's... We still have a little bit. All right, here's some 3-minute thesis competition trivia. Which department has been represented the most over the past 8 years of 3-minute thesis competition at Texas A&M? Now, I am going to move quickly back through my own notes here and make sure that I have a good grip on this as well. So, okay. Well, I am waiting for the correct answers to come in. So we are clearly on top of things here. Let's see. So biomedical engineering, I actually believe that may be right. So I'm going to look to my sides here and see if any of my compatriots have a complete round of trivia questions. Fairly sure that's correct, but I am making this up as I go along, as is so often the case in the life of an academic, just kind of winging it. So I'm going to say that biomedical engineering is in all likelihood correct. Okay, it appears we do not actually have the correct answers to these questions. So we are now, I mentioned earlier that the something to measure with was a touch postmodern. We are now fully postmodern. We are asking questions to which there is apparently no answer. There is an answer out there someplace, but it is essentially invisible to us. Aha! Here we are. How many branch campuses does Texas A&M have? All right, this one we're pretty solid on. All right, somebody, okay, all right, I'm actually, all right, great. 2, 3, 1, 5, okay, all right. I think some people are in for a bit of a surprise. I'm seeing this perhaps going in the wrong way. Maybe people don't know Texas A&M quite as well as they might have thought, so I will take that. Great. All right, fantastic. So let's call the close to voting, and the answer that seems to have been by far the most popular was 5, and it is wrong. It is, in fact, 2. We have branch campuses in Galveston and in Doha, Qatar. All right, so fascinating. So let's get one more question in, and then we will get to the part that I know many of you have been waiting for. So, if I could get the next question, and we'll see what happens when we do. Which designations does Texas A&M hold? Land grant, sea grant, space grant, land and sea grant, land, sea, and space grant. If you've been around Texas A&M, you've been told this many, many, many times. If you're an administrator at Texas A&M, you've written this in memos many, many, many times. So I'm seeing a lot of correct answers here. Okay, all right. Okay, some of you have no idea what this question means, but I promise you it's important. So let's close voting. All right, 70% said that we are a land, sea, and space grant institution, and that is indeed exactly correct. Let me consult with my panel of colleagues again and see if we are ready to go, and we are ready to go. All right, so the awards tonight will be presented by, again, the Dean of the Graduate and Professional School at Texas A&M, Dr. Karen Butler-Purry, who is down the hall from us in our socially distanced world. And she is ready to present the third place award. The third place award in the finals of the 3-minute thesis competition 2020-2021 at Texas A&M University is Marcus Orthabal from the Department of Veterinary Physiology and Pharmacology. Congratulations, Marcus. Our second place winner, our runner-up tonight, is Manoush Sadeji from the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering. Now, the award that you, the audience, voted on. Who is it that will emerge as the People's Choice winner for tonight's 3-Minute Thesis Finals? Our People's Choice Award winner from tonight is Amin Davoudi from the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Culture. Congratulations, Amin. And the winner of this year's 3-Minute Thesis Competition, who will represent Texas A&M University at the Conference of Southern Graduate Schools Regional 3-Minute Thesis Competition in February, is Amin Davoudi from the Department of Teaching, Learning, and Culture. Congratulations, Amin. Congratulations to all of our winners and all of our participants for their hard work, innovative research, and impressive presentation skills. Thanks to all of you, thanks to all the staff, faculty who made this possible tonight, thanks to our competitors for putting their heart and soul on the line and for making the sacrifices that it took to do the hard work that brought them to this tonight. Thanks to all of you for joining us and for making this an amazing evening. Have a wonderful night. Thanks, and gig 'em.